performers who brought you RuPaul's Drag Race and $1 Million Listing. This is World of Wonders Wow Report. Things that make us go wow.
Hello, I'm Fenton Bailey, and welcome to the Wow Report. Co-founder of World of Wonder here with Tom Campbell, our Chief Creative Officer.
Hello.
It always sounds so militaristic. Sounds like you're in the army, or
I should wear a uniform.
or you're going to whip us or something exciting. And literary sensation, James St. James.
Hello, darling.
Hello, how are you?
I'm very good, thank you.
So what we do every week, we count down the top 10 things that made us go,
Wow. Has it been a long time since we've seen each other? It feels like a while, doesn't it?
Fenton was away. You've seen me quite a bit,
I
but you've
do.
forgotten.
Yeah, okay. Welcome back, Fenton.
Thank you very much. It's lovely to be back here in our Hollywood Boulevard fronting studio with RuPaul's Star right outside.
Yes.
And you can watch us on worldofwonder.net as well as listen along on Sirius Radio.
Yeah, we're on YouTube. Just put in Wow Report Radio Andy. That's what I do.
Thank you.
It's easier.
Without further ado, number 10.
Number 10.
Well, you guys, you know how much I hate to talk about myself.
Oh.
But let me do it just this one time.
Yes, please.
Producers Guild Awards.
The Pingas.
As important as the WGAs, as the SAG Awards. You've heard of those.
Yeah.
For some reason, the Producers Guild, not televised, streamed maybe. And we had never been nominated before. But this year, we were nominated for a PGA, which I think like they need a name, like a PIGA.
That's
Or
what
a
I'm saying.
Piggy.
The Bingo Awards, the Piggy Awards.
PGA is sounds like some
Procter
sort of
& Gamble
medical
Awards is
problem.
what it sounds
Or
like.
golfing. And no disrespect to the wonderful PGA, which we are part of. So just an honest story. We were told we were nominated. We were very excited. And then
Where is it?
We've had some. It was at the Beverly Hilton Hotel. So it's
Lovely place.
We're
Yeah,
at the
certainly.
same place we have the Golden Globes. It was totally legit. We were told about it. We were having like not assistant issues. Like no one's going to be leaving, but no one really told us that it was coming up. And they were like, last minute, like, is it black tie? Do we have to wear a suit? Who's picking up whom? And so Randy picks me up. We literally get in the car on Saturday night. I'm like, is it the Beverly Wilshire? Is it the Beverly Hilton? We went to the right.
You did go to the right hotel.
We went to the Beverly Hilton. And again, nothing bad about it, but the GLAAD Awards are a little more fancy.
Is it Golden Globe in the fact you're sitting at tables getting drunk?
You are sitting at tables, and some people are getting drunk, although there's not that much wine. I wasn't drinking. But we get there, and then you're like, we're disoriented. We don't know. It feels like a straight crowd, but like, Bob Iger is there talking to Bradley Cooper. Bradley Cooper.
So it's star-studded.
And
Red carpet?
And there was a red carpet, which we did walk in. The only thing I really learned was that my tuxedo that I wore to the Emmys in September
There's no longer fits.
barely fits.
Oh.
So that's a little, if you're watching on YouTube, watch my visual transformation. So we're sitting there. We are, way back. This is it just feels like reality isn't the top priority of the night. Let's put it that way.
Is it ever at award shows?
No. We have received awards during commercial breaks.
Right, or they just give it to you during, they come and shove it in your hand.
Yes.
Here, you won.
Or while you're at commercial. So
right.
we're sitting there. It's Randy and me and Mish and Jacqueline, who are story people, wonderful. And then another table clear across the hall is Tim and Pam and Jen from Viacom and Mandy and Steven. And it wasn't that long. Tony Shalhoub came up and he read the nominees for Best Game Competition. And as you can imagine, The Voice has won for 4 years in a row.
Oh, I'm sorry you didn't win.
But we won!
Oh,
RuPaul's Drag Race.
Fake out.
So that's a long story. But just to say that the whole thing was disorienting. Like, are we going? Is it tonight? Where is it? We get there and then we sit down and then like third category is our category.
Is this what I lovingly call a humble brag?
No, it's a brag. And
And you gave a great speech.
well, I thank you because
I'm
Randy
moved.
said, knowing it wasn't televised, and Fenton didn't even bother going. He was like, "I'm just teasing." And
I was already in Palm Springs.
You were in Palm Springs. RuPaul was very tired, and so Randy's like, "If we win, you get to say something." So I was like, my cousins were visiting, April and Larry. Hey, and it was like 5 o'clock. Randy's picking up at 5:30, and I'm like, we're not going to win. I'll just wing it. And I thought, no, if someone else was doing this, I would write them. I would like give them some words. So I wrote some words, and I thanked everybody who I just mentioned at the tables. I thanked Chris McCarthy at Viacom. I thanked Pam, who'd been with us since the very beginning.
Do you want to read the speech right now?
But the part
We're posting it online.
and the part I do want to repeat is
Yes.
that because somebody won like a Lifetime Achievement Award, and they were like the secret sauce of all the Marvel movies. And I said the secret sauce of RuPaul's Drag Race can be boiled down to one word: RuPaul. that he's a superstar talent in front of and behind the camera, and he's also, and people oddly forget this, I think, but he's an LGBTQ pioneer, a fearless pioneer, one of the most. And I just think that's important to remember.
And you also reminded people that it's one word, RuPaul, not two words.
That's true.
Because some people still think it's two words.
And I pulled off a joke, but repeating a joke isn't a good idea, is it? But I'm going to do it.
Yeah,
Which
go,
was
please do.
basically, I said, 11 years ago when Ru dreamed of creating an international platform to celebrate the art of drag, that most people in this town, and I was looking right at Bradley Cooper at that point, no, I wasn't, thought it couldn't be done. And for them, I have one thing to say.
You better work.
Thank you. Next. Thank you. Thank you.
It was good. It was
It
good.
worked. It
was
played.
very
I had him in the palm of my hand. So now I'm power hungry. I want to just do speeches full time for award shows. Do you think I could make a living
Well,
that way?
I think maybe you should say something when we win the Maverick Award at Real Screen, the David Law Maverick Award. Get writing the words.
Dare you and Randy call me up from the audience to say a few words on your behalf?
We will once we've said a few words of our own.
Anyway, the PGA Awards are real, y'all, and like Green Book won. It's it's supposed to be an indicator for the Oscars. It's just weird to be in that company, but
Green Book doesn't stand a chance. I don't know where you're coming with that.
But it's exciting. I'm just saying the Americans won. It's like all the usual suspects won, and so did RuPaul's Drag Race. And I don't take it for granted, humble brag aside, because when you're hot, you're hot, and when you're not, you're not. And right now, I guess people are recognizing the show, and that feels good after 10, almost 11 years.
Love that. We're going to post a full list of winners on the Wow Report, worldofwonder.net/radio.
Yeah, because we left after we won our award, went to that lobby and drank.
There was a drinking, like a party food.
It's just the lobby. The Beverly Hilton is a very comfortable
I love it there.
hotel.
I've always enjoyed it
Pasta
there.
hors d'oeuvres.
There was family style food, which was a little annoying.
What is that?
It's like, well, at our table, they were like, here's a big plop of
where everybody
lamb
digs
shank.
in,
It's like,
everyone
sharing.
shares. Yes,
Well,
yes. I don't believe in sharing. No, I don't like that
either.
at all.
So I ate all of it myself.
Number 9.
James, number 9. What made you go wow this week?
Well, there's really something that I really want to talk about. I'm gonna go on. I'm gonna froth at the mouth a little bit. We need to talk about this. Something that's happening on Days of Our Lives right now. The Gays of Our Lives. It is absolutely groundbreaking and crazy. And I've got to give you the backstory of what's happening on this show.
So Days of Our Lives, the soap opera, is still on the air.
It
That's really wow right there.
It was just renewed for its 53rd year.
Wow.
Okay, so
On
it's,
and you
NBC,
watch-
right?
I've been watching since the 90s. Okay. Now there's these two characters on there, Will and Sunny, who are the gay couple, and they've been on for a while, and they're the 20-something-year-old guys, and they're the couple that you want to root for, right? You're supposed to root for them, except for the fact that they're both played by these heterosexual guys who are repulsed by each other, and every time they have to go in for a kiss, you can see the revulsion on their face as they're trying not to kiss each other, and they have these scenes where they're supposed to wake up in each other's arms, and you can see them like pushing at each other, like you can really tell that these are these cis guys who are just terrible, right? Now, there's Sonny is the head of the Kyriakis Foundation. He's the CEO of Titan, okay? And
What's Titan?
Titan Industry, who knows? It's just some
Think
company.
about it.
It's
Not
just
a gay porn.
mega.
it's just a company, right?
Right.
And he
Titan
hires this
Industries.
bitchy gay named Leo to be his personal assistant. And Leo comes in, and Greg Ricart plays him. He won a number of daytime Emmys over at Young and the Restless. He's a gay man. He's an openly gay, and he comes in, and he's this sort of like Queenie West Hollywood bitch who's running around in Mr. Turk suits the whole time, right? Just always in these like loud Mr. Turk suits. And he decides that he's going to blackmail Sonny, right? He gets these compromising pictures of the two of them in bed, and he's going to blackmail Sonny. So they go to court, and the day before they're about to go to court, they're arguing, and Will and Sonny and Leo are all arguing. Leo picks up a fire poker, hits him over the head with a fire poker. They think he's dead. They roll him up in a carpet and dump him in the swamp. Okay,
And he's the swishy guy.
yeah, the bitchy queen, right? So 3 months later, the doorbell rings, and it's him, and he's like, "Ding dong, I'm not dead, bitches." Right?
Literally.
He's like, "You thought I'm dead," and he's like, "I have photo proof of you guys killing me, and I'm going to blackmail you now. Sonny, I'm going to marry you, and I'm going to become the lady of the Kyriakis mansion." Okay, so they get married, and now he is like the lady of the manor, and he is.
I'm so sorry. Can I ask a question?
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah.
cutting. So there's three gays.
There's three
There's
gays.
a gay couple,
couple.
and
Gay couple.
And
And
Leo,
interlo-
swishy
the-
interloper.
Yeah,
Back from the dead.
Back from the dead,
but
right?
that's-
The blackmail.
So he marries him, and he is like just wandering. He is like I said, he is just camping up, vamping. He's like Mae West, running around the manor, right?
Yeah.
Well, meanwhile, there's another bad guy named Xander, who's a straight guy from Australia, and he's like a boy bander. He's got the boy band hair, and he's always a big muscle, and he's always walking around in a Speedo in the Kyriakis mansion. Okay, big muscles, and he's always like on his way to the hot
God.
tub. Every time you talk to him, he's like just got a towel around him. He's like, I'm on my way to the hot tub. And so when Leo sees Xander,
What time of day is this
this
on?
is on at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So Leo sees Xander and he's like, well, hello, big boy. And he like goes over and he's like, and he's like licking him. He's like playing with his nipples on television. Okay. And so he has this blackmail information that these people have tried to kill him. Xander is trying to become the CEO. And so Xander is
Of
Xander,
Titan Industries.
Of Titan Industries. He's looking for blackmailing information of his own. So Leo says to him, look, I have the information that you want. All you have to do is sleep with me. Come up to my bedroom right now.
A gay guy blackmailing a straight
Guy
guy who
to
walks
have
around in a
sex.
Speedo to have sex.
Yes. And
Must have been hard for the
Xander,
straight guy.
after a few weeks of this guy playing with his nipples and everything, says, okay, I'll do it. And so he says to him, the guy says, I don't know if I can get it. I don't know if I can do this. He says, you've never heard of the term gay for pay? And he's like, okay, but I'm going to need some, I'm going to need some liquor. And so he brings a champagne bottle and he says, do you have anything harder? And he says, oh, I've got something harder for you.
girl.
Like literally it's these like Mae West lines.
the F
and then
is happening?
we see them like in bed and all of a
James,
sudden,
are you sure you're
I'm
not
totally
moonlighting,
serious.
working for them,
And-
or
no,
on some hallucinogenic
And
drug?
Xander's like, well, I don't know if I can do this. And Leo's like, don't worry, Doc. Like, I'm going to do all the heavy lifting here. And then he like pounces on them, and you see them like go in, like making out, and go into the it goes into commercial, and they wake up together, and they're having bed together.
How does Xander deal with the
Well, Xander immediately goes and seduces Sarah down the hall to get the taste of the man out of his mouth. But
Wow, that's vivid.
no. But that's how vivid
I
the
get
show
it.
is.
I
They
Why
are-
is it so? It's outrageous.
It's outrageous.
You
And
gotta
not
get
only,
ratings these days,
And not
people.
only is it outrageous in the Me Too movement, where you have this guy sexually harassing, this gay man sexually harassing a straight guy, but the fact that the straight man goes for it, and it's like, okay, and then they appear to be enjoying it, and then it's sort of.
Is it a little bit homophobic though that you've got the swishy gay as the evil gay?
But that's the great thing about it, and that's what he keeps saying in interviews. They keep it's all over the
Right.
gay media and everything like that. But he says that we are at a place now where we don't have to have the noble gays. You can have a bad guy be a gay guy, and it doesn't really matter.
And the way the soap operas work, from my history with them, is like he could end up being a saint in 2 months. You
Well,
know what I'm saying?
yeah.
They could rewrite his story. The way, Luke and Laura, Luke raped Laura.
Yeah,
And now
that's
they're,
how it
now they're
started.
the love affair of all
The
time.
people still talk about that.
Well, what if Leda raped the swan, or the swan raped Leda? I can't remember which way.
It's
it
been
runs.
going on since the Greek times.
Thank you.
But it is just sort of fascinating that we have. We're
I'm
at
a
a
little bit
place.
country, and I'm a little bit rock and roll. Days of Our Lives, Greek mythology.
Check your local listings for Days of Our Lives, weekdays on NBC.
It's
That's
just-
great,
but
great.
It
You
is-
need to be paid by NBC for bringing
That
people
was
back.
amazing.
Don't you want to watch?
I want to watch. Yeah,
It's just fascinating that we're at this place where the gays can be, the bad guys, and he's like I said, he's in Mr. Turk outfits, he's in Oppo suits, he's in high heels and power suits.
Years
running
ago,
around.
we made a documentary was about Hitler being gay, and it didn't go down very well at the time. Maybe
World
the
of
time is
Wonder.
right for a re-release of that.
to revisit that.
Number 8.
You've probably been following Netflix, the Fire, the Fire
yeah.
Festival. They released a
Because
documentary.
there was two of them. There was one on Hulu and then one on Fire.
Stole my line.
I'm sorry.
Stole my fire. Yes, there's two of them.
But
So-
this was this obnoxious kind of like Coachella
Yeah.
happening.
For multimillionaires.
It was supposed to be this ultimate music festival.
They called it
held in the
Coachella in the
Caribbean.
Caribbean.
Exact Coachella on an island, not just any island, but Paulo de Escobar's island.
Yeah.
So it was
Oh.
a drug dealer's island, which added a soupçon
Sure.
of glamour, a frisson of danger.
But
and
it
of course,
cost-
well, the moment they found out that they were using the fact it was Paulo Escobar's island, the people who owned the island said, "You can't come and have a music festival here." So this begins a long process of, I suppose they tried to organize the whole thing literally 6 months before the day. an entire festival on a Caribbean island. And the one genius thing that they did was that they had an amazing Instagram video, and they had, you know, the millennial influencers. And the other thing they did when they launched this video, and it was a gorgeous video, speedboats, blue waters, you know, it was just everything you would imagine it might be.
Yes.
Even pigs on an island that you would frolic in
That
the
they
water
swim,
with pigs.
yeah.
Yeah, the swimming pigs, sure.
When pigs
sorry.
swim.
I didn't realize swimming pigs were just
Swimming pigs is a huge
all
thing
over
down.
Facebook.
Yeah, I mean, everybody loves the swimming pigs.
So when they launched this video, it's brilliant because they didn't launch it with a frame grab. It was just an orange tile, a burning orange tile, and you clicked on that, and it would take you to play this video. Anyway, the video was really the sum total, it seems, of the festival in terms of infrastructure, organization. It was all fantasy. It was all
wasn't
unreal.
it
It
like
wasn't together.
wasn't it supposed to be like you paid like $20,000
Yes.
or something
You'd
outrageous,
be in a luxury villa,
and you were
you'd
going to
be-
frolic with supermodels, and it was
Celebrity
just,
chefs would
it
cook
was
you the swimming
the
pigs.
filet mignon, and
Yeah.
yeah.
And then
When you get there, you
and
get
it was Ja Rule, the rapper Ja Rule.
Sure.
Jaw roll.
Thank you. The rapper Ja Rule.
unless you're from Ibiza, in which you say Yahoo.
Ja, it's just to give Hitler. Ja, mein Führer. So, this other guy whose name was Bill McFarland, who was a young sort of internet entrepreneurial millennial millionaire. He had invented a credit card for young people. And the thing about this credit card was that it was made of metal. And it became the card to have, and there was some sort of clubhouse in Manhattan where you could hang out. I mean, long story short, he was, from year one, he was a fraudster. Now, what happened is Netflix dropped this documentary on Friday, the 18th, but Monday, kind of like someone said, like a Beyonce album, Hulu dropped another competing documentary called Fire Fraud, which is, frankly, infinitely better. And it has an interview with this guy who's seen as
And
wholly
the Netflix
responsible.
one doesn't have the interview.
It doesn't. It doesn't have an interview. And and the guy who organized it is now serving 6 years in prison for fraud. I mean, he defrauded something like 26 million.
Well,
from
wait,
people.
because the thing is, everybody comes to the island and they're
Yeah.
all expecting all this,
Right.
and basically they got a cheese sandwich and some
well,
crackers.
yes. I mean, they had to find venue after venue after venue. Then they finally got this piece of an island. There were no homes. There were no villas. They had to get hurricane relief tents with a luxury accommodation.
FEMA, yeah, uh-huh.
They just ran out of time, and this is almost Shakespearean. The night before everyone was supposed to arrive, an epic monsoon completely destroyed the campsite. So not only were they not prepared anyway, but then they were. So people, when they all arrived, they were like dragging waterlogged mattresses around, and it was a real shit
So
show.
the news story from like a year ago is that this millennial rich Coachella in the Caribbean was happening. People showed up and it was empty and they were distraught, and it kind of made fun of the attendees.
Made fun, yes.
Did this documentary shed light in terms of, were they really trying to pull something off? Were they really trying to?
No, it was out and out a Ponzi fraud scheme,
Okay.
almost from the beginning, because they never had the wherewithal to actually pull it together. And once they were committed to doing it, they could have pulled out any number of times. And this is where it gets interesting: is the complicity of everybody else in promoting something that many people in these and both documentaries say, well, it could never happen, but they were working on it. They were hired to promote it.
Wasn't that very
How-
Trumpian? That sort of
very
yeah.
and that is why the line, the end of line of the Hulu doc is, it's a great time to be a con man in America.
Yeah.
Because basically there's a fire festival going on in the White House every single day.
Where
And-
nobody really knows how to do anything, and yet they just keep thinking, well, we'll just pull it off when the time comes.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right.
Yeah.
You really should check them out. Both documentaries. Fire Fraud is streaming on Hulu. That's the one I recommend. Fire, The Greatest Party That Never Happened, is streaming on Netflix.
Fascinating.
A stilted yawn. Nothing to do with the topic matter, I'm sure.
James, you've been waiting for this. An all-new season of $1 Million Listing just started on Bravo.
Oh, it's exciting.
Get caught up on the Bravo app. Tune in every Thursday at 9 p.m. Then stick around.
For Backyard Envy.
So good. I enjoy it so much.
It's so much fun, and they're so
Immediately
wonderful, all three of them.
Hunky manscapers. We should have them on the show. We'll be right back. This is the Wow Report on Radio Andy, Sirius XM. Blake, do we have a question?
We do. What wow celebrity appeared as Chris in 15 episodes of Days of Our Lives, spanning from 2004 to 2011? You'll never guess.
Chris, Days of Our Lives, a wild celebrity.
I think it was James St. James. But anyway, we'll be right back after the break.
2004 to 2011.
You're listening to World of Wonders Wow Report.
Welcome back to the Wow Report.
It's good to be back, Fenton.
It's good to be back. James, wake up.
I'm trying to think of who this could be. My mind is boggled.
What are we doing?
We're having a trivia question.
We're counting down the top 10 things that made us go,
Wow!
And
And we're having a trivia question.
And the question was, Blake.
What wow celebrity appeared as Chris in 15 episodes of Days of Our Lives?
And a wow celebrity is somebody that we presumably have worked with.
Yes, we have worked.
And who was an actor? Was Madison an actor?
No.
Chris could be a guy or a girl. I don't think it was.
James, got any idea?
Was it Tippi Hedren? Was it
Tippi Hedren. I'll give you a clue.
Oh.
He was also a hand model.
Oh, I was going to say Ryan.
Ryan Serhant.
Yes.
No, it was Ross Matthews.
Oh!
Chris.
I thought it was.
Do you know what his character was?
No, I don't.
Well, I'm gonna
All
call
we
him
know
after
is
the
it
show
was
and find
Chris.
out. Well, he was on the Jay Leno show. So they
Yes.
were doing some cross thing. Ross has done everything.
Ross has been a little bit of everywhere.
There's a Kennedy Center honor in his near future.
He's very, very talented.
Yes.
Well, speaking of
a
Chris's,
national treasure.
Speaking of Chris's, I ran into Carson Kressley in Palm Springs. The night of the PGAs,
Boing.
I literally ran into him.
How does that? Speaking of a Chris,
There's no connection.
but you have a
That
Chris.
kind of show. I do, and that story is
Number 7.
Number 7.
consumed by the news, reaching my saturation point where I have trouble keeping track of stuff. I'm not going to get into it, but I posted that Trump red hatted kids retracted it.
Get
and
me started.
I wish I could just get $1 for every post, people. It's very hard, but I have to find some silver lining to this whole news thing, this obsession, this listening in the car, then going home and turning on the CNN, both places. And that silver lining, his name is Chris Cuomo.
Why?
Couple reasons.
I'm with you and I'm against you, and I'll tell you why.
Is it a looks thing?
I'm superficial. It is television, and I do find it to be wildly handsome and authoritative. And there's a certain, Anderson's great. I'm used to, I'm a gay guy. I want a new guy. But Chris Cuomo just sits there and looks at the camera. And I'm just dying. He also, these are the slightly more substantive things. I find that he breaks stuff down in a way that I understand it. He's not, and I do love Don. I love the whole flavor on CNN right now because he chit chats with Don Lemon when they go to the hour.
They're very good friends and they're cute together.
And they have like a 10-minute well, Don, and it's the straight guy talking to his gay friend.
My friend.
And they're all good.
Yeah.
And they pick on each other. But, Don Lemon is a little more liberal biased, if you will. He's a little bit more snarky, which is fine. But Chris Cuomo breaks it down. Not too long ago, he's the one that got Giuliani on and got him to just, I guess anybody can bring Giuliani on and have him just spill the beans.
Spill the beans, just make shit up. I mean,
It's crazy. But I'm not a Rachel Maddow person. Because I don't know why I go to CNN and MSNBC and there's nothing against her, and people on my social feeds, people are just exploding like, oh my God, you got to watch Rachel tonight. And for humble me, Chris Cuomo is doing that. He's breaking stuff down. He's not just giving us left side spin. He kind of helps break down and explain the story.
Are you saying Rachel Maddow's left side?
I don't know. I don't watch her that much.
I do want to just say about Chris Cuomo that he does engage a little bit in the both sidesism that drives me a little crazy because he has a tendency to let he's best friends with Anthony Scaramucci, right? Who he always has on his show. Scaramucci, I can see them being best friends because they're both outer borough boys. They're scrappy Italian kids from big families, big rich families. I can see where they get along. He also lets Kellyanne Conway on all the time,
and she calls him
Giuliani.
Christopher.
And the thing is, I get that because their ratings gold and they're batshit crazy, and you can never tell what they're saying. But the other thing is he lets Corey Lewandowski on all the time, and there is no reason for that whatsoever. Corey Lewandowski has signed an NDA agreement, which he can never say anything bad about Trump for as long as he lives.
Right.
So CNN pays him to come on. And what? Why is everybody looking at each other? I'm not allowed to talk about Corey Lewandowski.
No, you are. There you are.
So Corey Lewandowski, there's no reason on earth to have him come on the show, and yet every single CNN person puts them on. I do. Now, having said that, I'm moving on to the other people on CNN who I love.
Number 6.
Because I agree with you. ABC News, going back a little bit, ABC News realized a while ago that if they hire hot gays, the people will tune in. And every single person on ABC Nightly News is a hot thirst trap, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so CNN is sort of learning that lesson. They have Chris Cuomo, they have Anderson and Don Lemon, who are both sexy gays, right? Sexy out gays. But there's also, I don't know, I just wanted to throw these names out here, and I want you guys to be paying attention. Boris Sanchez is a reporter for CNN who's really hot and really gorgeous, and he looks like a porn star from the mid-2000s that I remember from Mandate magazine. I swear to God.
Mandate magazine?
Don't you remember Mandate and Torso and Inches and Honcho?
So he's posed in that way.
Yeah, I think he has. There's a guy, Paulo Sandoval, who is also a reporter for CNN.
Keep going. We're looking. Keep talking.
Yeah. There's
What's the guy's name? Second guy's name?
Paulo Sandoval.
Paulo
Sandoval.
My parents, I thought that was such a good thing doing Tom Campbell, but clearly I needed a more exotic name. Oh.
Cutie cute. Phil Mattingly, I want you to
Keep going.
Okay. Phil Mattingly has his own show now, and Phil Mattingly is sort of the jock in school who probably beat you up and then you went home and masturbated to him. Okay. Phil Mattingly is like Phil Mattingly, yes.
Okay, he's a doll. They're all brunettes, by the way.
Boris Rivers. No. Boris Sanchez, Paulo Sandoval, Phil Mattingly, Matt Rivers. I also
all on CNN.
All on CNN. I would be Mrs. Fareed Zakaria. I would totally marry Fareed Zakaria. You know Fareed Zakaria.
Yes, he's the international guy.
Yeah, I love him. I would
He's
totally.
There's kind of a type, like they all work for this for Bellamy or something. Bellamy or whatever. They're all they all kind of start to blend together.
Yeah. I mean, there's
May
I also
best
like
woman
Manu
win.
Raju too. I have sort of a type. But
When are these guys on?
they're on. They're just they bring them on for on the air reporters. They're always in front of the White House. Da da da. And so I just think that CNN is realizing that if you get hot guys, that the gays will tune in.
Well, now I know what you do when you go home.
Well, I watch Days of Our Lives, General Hospital, some CNN, and then some Family Guy and Bob's Burgers, and I'm done.
Well, I moving on. So watch CNN, I guess, to catch all of James's thirst traps.
Number 5.
But I actually watch the news to get some news, and that's why I am like Team Maddow. And I like why other people. You're not alone in this. Like other people don't like Rachel
I just
Maddow.
don't watch MSNBC.
And okay, because I think she is phenomenal and amazing. And she isn't necessarily about breaking news. And she
breaks it down.
She breaks it down.
Yeah,
and she also amasses, she gathers in multiple pieces from multiple sources. And then you suddenly start seeing this connects with this, connects with this, connects with this. And where, before you just have one incident, you actually have what is so clearly, so undeniably, a mountain-sized conspiracy of collusion and treason and things of that nature. And
but don't you feel like sometimes that she goes a little too far with the conspiracy theories, and that it becomes a little bit like, are you really the left equivalent of what Fox is doing? You go so deep.
No, because I think this surely plays into your argument about two-sidesism. The problem with a lot of the media is that they will invent another side merely to have another
false
side.
equivalency.
They
Sure.
will give a platform to a monster raving Twitter lunatic.
Hitler
just
was
for the
terrible.
sake of two perspectives.
Hitler was terrible, but we're going to bring on one of Hitler's greatest supporters here to talk about how great
who
he was.
Just tweeted out how great Hitler was, and
No,
I'm
I
sorry,
get it.
that just won't wash.
Yes.
And whereas Fox will traffic in fake news, this is well-researched, well-documented traditional journalism, which isn't something I believe we should completely lose sight of, because I don't believe we live in an age of alternative facts. there are facts and there are non-facts. It's not alternative facts.
But she is a little
And I do-
overwhelming sometimes.
She's intense.
Yeah.
And I tell you what I do is I go home, I listen to her in my car. I never watch the show because I feel the beauty of the show is that actually you can listen to it on radio.
Yes.
And she is not herself a thirst trap. She doesn't even like wearing makeup. She does it just for the duration of the show and then wipes it immediately off.
Yes.
And I actually listen to her at 1.5 speed because I just cannot get this information fast enough. And it's just great. Instead of like her voice is fantastic. Even though it's 1.5 times, it's still completely clear and completely comprehensible. And it's a lot. It is definitely a lot. But the mere fact that she's creating all this stuff and weaving these elements together and joining the dots, I don't see anybody else who's doing it. So I'm always baffled when people say they don't like her because it's like, what is the... Yeah,
I'm not saying I don't like her.
No, I know
I'm
you're
saying,
not. No, and I'm not picking on you,
Okay.
but other people do, you know, like...
But she also has because she has a strong point of view, I guess, because there are people that love her, who worship her. My social media feed is always burning up with, like, watch Rachel right now. She's spilling the tea. She's on fire.
Well, I'll just tell you, I will tell you one thing. There was a very unusual Instagram post that yesterday, very short video clip, and she's looking at the camera. She says, I am telling you, do not lose faith just because the ground is shaking. Anything is possible. And I think, I have a feeling it'd be worth tuning into her this week especially, because I think she's onto something big. And I think it's, you know, it's telling that of course he would have the government shut down, the longest in American history, before the Democrats take over the House.
Sure.
And Rachel RM says, you know, what a great way to undermine the FBI. Because if none of them are being paid, they're
Sure.
going to be financially desperate and potentially compromised. And it's a great way to undermine the very institution that has the most chance, I suppose, of bringing this traitor in our midst to justice. And I don't think that's really a matter of opinion. I think it's a matter of fact. So anyway,
In the words of Chris Como, let's get after it. How do you do?
okay,
Sounded just like him.
Thanks.
what's our question?
I feel like him.
Who is the wealthiest news anchor in the world?
In the world.
Ooh.
News anchor?
You would know him.
Okay, good.
While we ponder that, tune in to RuPaul's Drag Race All-Stars Season 4, Fridays, 8 p.m. on VH1, and we'll be...
Only a precious few episodes left.
I know, right? We're
It's getting
down to the
really
last
good. Yes.
And we'll be right back after the break.
You're listening to World of Wonders Wow Report.
Welcome back. I'm Fenton, here with Tom and James and Blake, and we're counting down the top 10 things that made us go,
Wow.
This week we just celebrated great news anchor icons that turn us on and keep us tuned in. Woohoo! And we had a question.
Who is the wealthiest news anchor in the world?
Was or is?
Is.
I have to. I know this. It's got to be Anderson with all that Vanderbilt money.
Oh, that's good.
That's a good, right?
Yeah, you know, right? Or
It's
who
not
else?
David Muir.
I do love me some David Muir.
Yes, you do. Being ABC is gay from the head down.
Everything ABC gay thirst traps.
Yes. I'm going to say Anderson Cooper. Vanderbilt. Anderson Vanderbilt Cooper.
That's right.
There you go.
Estimated $100 million.
Oh God, that is
Good
a husband
job.
right
and he
there.
still goes to work.
Yes, he does.
Amazing. Oh, number 4,
Number 4.
Tom.
As Oscar season heats up, we're going to have a whole show about it
Yeah. Next week, right?
next week. But at James' urging, I went to see The Wife, with Glenn Close.
good, yes.
which I know you've seen. I was a little shocked because I have not seen a lot. There was an old Saturday Night Live sketch with Bill Murray when he used to play the entertainment reporter, and he had like a magnet board with all this. He goes, didn't see that. He goes, well, based on what I've seen, I think this should win. I want Star Wars Born to win everything.
Wait
And
a
the
minute,
first
do you
Lady
not
Gaga,
like it? Did
and
you
first
not-
Lady Gaga doesn't win at the Golden Globes. Like we did at the PGA Awards. Same room. I thought I'm going to call up Gaga and say, honey, this is how it feels. And then they tie at the Screen Actors Guild Awards and the Critics' Choice Awards.
The Golden Globes. Oh no, the Critics' Choice, right?
Critics' Choice. And so I'm like, what is with this Glenn Close? No, she's an amazing actress.
She's amazing, and she's
Anything I'm
the
about to say
Susan
is
Lucci of our time. She's never won an Oscar. 8 times she's been nominated.
Is that true?
She keeps
Yes.
losing every single time.
And wrong. And I love her, and everything I'm going to say is fun. But I went to see The Wife, maybe with slightly heightened expectations. I saw it in the theater. I saw it by myself because that's who I am. Oh, anyway, outside thing. And it's she does an amazing job because she does, but it doesn't have the emotional bravado that I thought A Star Is Born did.
But wait a minute, but it's all about the slow burn. It's about you're realizing as as it goes on, you know what the big reveal is going to be,
Correct.
and you're waiting for the shoe to drop.
Yes.
And then when it finally happens, she gives that smoldering, dangerous liaison look at the very end, where she just it's a moment of triumph that she has managed to survive and thrive, and she is about to take over the world, and you just see that look. It's all about what she's telegraphing behind the eyes.
I buy all that.
Okay, and it's just it's a master class in the slow burn. Okay, and the tension keeps building. Whereas, I mean, come on, Gaga, yes, gorgeous, but anybody could have done that role, and it's just
James, look at me again. Oh, I just want to see your face.
Are you doing the wife?
Yeah,
No.
she's doing Gaga.
I don't want to give away the. I know, but I just.
This is a woman who has been around for 50 years. She has been on theater. She's been on Broadway. She was One Last Look.
Yes,
Sunset Boulevard. She was World According to Garp. I mean, for Christ's sake, what does this woman have to do to get your love?
I have one last inflammatory thing to say. I was two things. One is when I went to buy the ticket by myself, I sort of rolled out of bed, put on a hat, went to the theater, and I said, and I talked to a person, I didn't do a machine. I'd like one ticket for the wife at 3:30, and they said, "Would you like an adult or a senior ticket?"
Oh,
So.
so you're in a bad mood going
Anything
into
after that was a bit of a lack of drama.
Where did you
Speaking of
go?
simmering, at the ArcLight.
Okay, but wait a minute. The other thing, though, is Oslo in the winter. Like, did you ever realize what a gorgeous city is and how
So
much you want to
beautiful.
go?
But I thought that I would like the Oscars to be young and Gaga-like.
No, the
Says the
Oscars
man
are
who-
old, and to give
right.
reward someone for a lifetime of.
It's worth seeing the movie. When it's Gaga versus Glenn Close, I'm still voting for Gaga.
Number 3.
Now, before the show, James St. James said that for this next item, number 3, he was going to talk for 10 minutes, and we weren't allowed to interrupt him. I had no idea what he was going to talk about. I have now seen what it is, and can I just say, you're about to talk at length about the worst movie ever made. Without question.
No.
Is
Actually,
that correct?
No, about 5 minutes ago, I changed my mind and I'm doing a whole different thing. I'm sorry, I forgot to tell you. I have something else that I want to talk
for
about.
fuck's sake, I finally have something to say.
Wait,
You said it. Aquaman is the worst movie ever made.
I don't know what you're going to talk about, Jays, but whatever it is, it's the worst movie ever.
Wait, you really didn't like it? Because I liked Aquaman. I thought it was fantastic.
Aquaman was execrable.
No!
I thought it was disgusting
They had an octopus that was playing the drums. An octopus playing the drums. How great is that?
Nicole Kidman. Oh my God.
They do have a weird thing that they did with Aquaman that wrap it up already?
Yeah, this isn't even your.
It is now.
We'll back it up. Okay.
So I wanted
We should do an Aquaman. We should talk before it disappears from screens forever. Did you see Aquaman?
No, I haven't.
It is truly
Actually, we
atrocious.
should talk about Aquaman. You want to talk about Aquaman?
No. Come on.
Okay, I have a whole page on Aquaman that I can talk about. But what I really wanted to talk about, though, I wanted to revisit Gotham for a minute there.
Okay, so this is take 3, take 2. So, The Wife is in theaters now, and James, what have you got for us?
It's really good. You should see The Wife.
What have you got for us at number?
I wanted to revisit Gotham, which is a TV show on the CW that I've been watching now for about 5 years. It just started.
It's on Fox.
Yes.
CW.
Fox. You're absolutely right. Hold on. And I wanted to
Can you
revisit
say that part again?
Blah! Here we
You're
go.
absolutely right. That's the part I wanted you to say.
Tom was right. I wanted to revisit Gotham, which is a TV show on Fox that is in its 5th season, I think, right now, and it's
Fifth and final, isn't
fifth
it?
and final season. Yeah, it follows young Bruce Wayne before he becomes Batman. I see your eyes already glazing over.
Reimagining of Batman.
Reimagining of Batman. No, but here it is. It's young Batman. It's young Catwoman. It's young Riddler. It's young Penguin. It's young Poison Ivy. Young Jim Gordon. Okay, and the thing is stylistically, it's really fascinating. I wish you would give it a shot. The fashions are all 1980s. The architecture is all 1940s. The technology is all 1970s. It's all a mishmash of everything thrown into one big. It's just fascinating. The look of it is absolutely wonderful, right?
It's 190 when you add all those eras together.
But the thing is, there were some fatal flaws going into the show. Number one, they needed a big star in the first season to get it made, and so they hired Jada Pinkett Smith, and they made her into a villain that nobody cared about, and there was a lot of attention paid to her. Okay, and that sort of threw everybody off. And the purists who went into the show, DC comic fans, Batman fans, they didn't care about this character, right? So they got rid of her after the first season, but it never really managed to pick up steam again. The second thing is they hired these young actors to play young Bruce Wayne, young Catwoman, everything like that. And they had a lot of, going into it, they had promise. You could see them growing up to maybe be Bruce Wayne, but they didn't. The kid is going through an awkward phase, and he's hitting puberty, and he's not quite what they wanted him to be. And he would have to be on the show 4 more years before, on steroids or something, to make him into Batman. Same thing with the Selena Kyle. She's a beautiful girl, but she's sort of going through an awkward teenage phase. So the show just sort of had to stop and rethink everything because they weren't able to. He didn't age fast enough into a big beefy Batman.
Okay.
He's an awkward, gawky kid with a big nose. And all of a sudden, it's like you can see the writers working feverishly, like, what do we do? What do we do? What do we do? So basically, the show, they had to end it. They just ended it because the actors weren't where they needed to be.
Okay.
Right? And so now it's this last season, and they're just throwing everything they can at the screen, hoping that it works, and it's batshit crazy. It's a famous...
Batshit crazy.
there
It's
you
a
go.
Batman sequel I would watch.
But it's a very famous story from the Batman mythology where if you think of Gotham City, it's like Manhattan, and they've destroyed all the bridges, and so it's like Manhattan is cut off from the world.
It's like a prison?
It's a prison. It's a prison city, and the Penguin has one segment, Joker has one segment,
Bronx, Queens.
Yeah, everybody has their own, and they're all warring against each other. And it's just, all the people are going for broke. There's a character on there who's playing the young Joker, and it's Cameron Monaghan, who is Ian on Shameless, the young gay guy on Shameless.
Right.
And he's so fantastic. And the guy who plays Riddler is so cute. The guy who plays Penguin, everybody is just giving it 110%. And if you've never watched the show, I just think now is the time. You can tune in at any time and see what's happening.
Jump in, watch the last season, and with nothing before it.
You don't really need to know anything before it, except that it's young Batman, young
Just
Catwoman.
embrace the batshit crazy.
It's just insane. It's just absolutely insane, and everybody's giving it 110%, and it's just really fun.
I like joining something late and not having to do any of the homework. So
Yeah,
I might take you up on that.
we all know the Batman story, the mythology.
blah,
So there you
blah.
go.
But does No Boy Wonder, right?
No, because he's still a boy himself.
Right. Just asking.
Maybe babysits or something for a little extra cash.
All right, number 2.
Number 2.
Speaking of batshit crazy,
Yes.
2020 did, especially they've been doing these specials, these 2-hour events, but there's still like 20 episodes.
ABC News 2020. We're in
Thank-
touch, so you stay in touch. 2020.
All right.
Oh,
Barbara
and this is the
Walters.
Randy and Fenton hour.
Well, no, it's Unfaithfully Yours, 2 hours, and they retold the Jim and Tammy Faye story.
Starring Randy and Fenton.
Well, we make an appearance in the last hour. I mean, it's really, if you're not familiar with the Jim and Tammy story, this is a good retelling of it, and they touch on all the points. It's amazing actually, because even though it's 2 hours long, you still feel they're just skimming over point after point after point after point. I suppose we've been spoiled by binging and the new real estate of mini-series television. You just feel there's so much to tell in this story.
It would
You
have made a good
simply-
Netflix six-part
it
thing.
needs
yeah.
to be its own
It
multi-part
still needs to be
series.
done.
It does, and the reason I say that, we made a few years ago now a documentary called The Eyes of Tammy Faye, and it told the story. I mean,
And then you followed it up with
and it was really
Death
Defying.
and also The Fabulous Baker Boy about Jay Baker, the son.
Oh, right, yeah.
And his ministry. But what's interesting is, I mean, it's an epic story and yet you still feel you don't really quite know Jim. You get an idea of Tammy. It was really interesting to see again, for me, to see again this archive of Jim and Tammy, because Tammy looks traumatized and anxious all the way through. And I don't think back in the 80s that was something we ever noticed. We always thought how fabulous she was and what great TV. And yet looking at these clips, something seems awry or amiss. And I suppose also now looking back on it, it seems clear as day, really, that
they were scamming everyone.
No. I think Jim and Tammy were fundamentally at odds. I think Jim was probably basically gay, and I think Tammy didn't quite know how to deal with that. And also Jim, I think, now that we live in time where we've seen many con men come and go, so Jim is an out and out,
Classic
one of the
con man.
hoary
What
old
about
classic
Jessica?
con men.
What about the?
Jessica Hunt? And in this special, they try to spin Jessica as a sympathetic figure, which I must say, given some of her choices that she made after she did like stripper videos and weird sort of
Wait, are you
things,
shaming her for stripper videos?
I am not shaming her. It just seems that as a righteous, wronged figure, she seemed to make strange choices.
But compare that to Stormy Daniels. I mean, it's sort of.
Oh, well, no, absolutely, because I think Stormy Daniels is a whole different. Stormy Daniels follows, to me, in the tradition of when they tried to shame Madonna, and she said, "I am not ashamed."
Right.
I feel Stormy Daniels has chosen that path, and Jessica Hahn, no criticism, just didn't.
Is Jessica Hahn more of a
what I'd say,
Tanya?
ultimately less empathizable with, I suppose, even though I feel
She's still alive, right?
the agenda of this ABC 2020 is to demonize the Bakers and therefore make Jessica seem.
Is Jessica Hahn still alive?
Yeah.
She certainly
Is
is.
she
Yeah,
interviewed?
She's not. Yeah.
That's
not-
an interesting person I want to hear from.
Yeah, not really. I mean, I want to say. It's funny having watched it. I couldn't tell you if they did a special sit-down interview with her,
Right.
or
Or
if it was just archive
Is she sort of a
appearances.
Tanya Harding character?
Perhaps, yeah, perhaps.
Can I ask you a question? You did your interview. You'd forgotten that you'd been interviewed for it, right? Kind of. You did it like a year ago.
Totally forgot.
What's it like seeing
Totally
yourself
forgot.
on camera, knowing that you did an interview one day, it's kind of in one ear, out the other? Did you feel you were well represented? And be kind, because we want to work with ABC very soon.
I did. It was me and Randy together, and I just don't think I thought Randy was excellent. Randy was just on it, and I just don't think I really said anything that they wanted to hear. But what was really, there were two things that were really shocking. Really the most shocking thing was, and this was the one bite from me that they kept in, was when Tammy did that interview with Larry King literally 2 days before she died.
Yeah.
And I had forgotten how I remembered seeing her and thinking she didn't look very well. She looked.
No. It was the face
Really?
of death by cancer. It was like
it
kind
was,
of brain
she was
in a way.
desiccated. Yeah, I mean, it was.
It was seeing death on camera.
And
or
it-
just
Yeah.
And for all that was said and all the mean remarks all the way through, sneering at Jim and Tammy for wanting to be on television and as if somehow that was a
Right.
bad thing. Actually, the fact that she was willing to practically die on television,
Right.
to show for
Give a
someone,
face to
someone,
something
give
that-
a face to that. Yes, exactly. For someone who had their
part of
mascara
life.
tattooed on, in other words, who was very concerned about how she looked,
Yeah.
to reveal all.
This is what
was
happens.
I
so
didn't realize that it was 2 days before
moving.
she died.
It was.
That's crazy.
I'd forgotten all about that. You said it, and the image comes
But I
blaring
remember that
back
picture,
into my
yeah,
eye.
and it was. I remember just thinking how brave she was and how it was a beautiful picture to see. I thought you were looking at
Yeah.
death. You were looking
And
at.
it brought me up to remember that it's almost 12 years since she died. And Jim, of course, who said when he came out of prison that he didn't need to be on television, is back on television selling powdered food for the end times.
Oh, good.
Which I suppose was a ridiculous concept when he started, but now with Trump, the end times does seem slightly more
Lose
feasible.
weight and prep for the apocalypse.
So you can watch the 2020 special.
Was
Unfaithfully Yours on
the son on it? Was,
on ABC. No, none of the family. No, no. We have to take a quick. Oh yeah, you can watch it on abcgo.com.
Okay.
All right, we have to take a quick break. When we come back, the number one thing this week that made us go wow. And I'll just remind you, tickets for RuPaul's Drag Con, LA 2019, May 24th, 25th, 26th. Just go to RuPaul'sDragCon.com. It's the Wow Report on Radio Andy Sirius XM.
You're listening to World of Wonders Wow Report. Things that make us go wow.
And we are back.
So soon?
So soon. James St. James, Tom Campbell, Blake Jacobs, and me, Fenton. We're going to reveal the number one thing this week that made us go wow.
Number 1.
James.
Why are you giving me? I don't know, because all I know is that it's 3 things. The first thing is the last thing is 3 things.
We might be with the government shutdown. It might have been hard for us to come up with just one thing, so we broke it down and just sort of celebrities doing wacky things, being batshit crazy, which seems to be today's
Batshit crazy.
thing. Yeah. And I just want to talk a tiny bit about now. There's a Cardi B and Tommy Lahren. Is that the is that her name?
Yeah.
And they got into a Twitter war about the government shutdown. And
Tommy Lahren, of course, is the poster girl for Trump. She was
Blonde,
a Fox correspondent. She's now on Trump TV, I believe. She's a talking an evil Barbie doll.
I don't think she was ever even on Fox News. She
No,
was
she
on
was.
The Blaze.
She's just lightweight.
Yeah.
But and Cardi B, who I think said on the show, because I'm getting older. Asked the guy at the movie theater. I'm having trouble wrapping my head around Cardi B. Not just because like taking in new things in music, but Cardi B just won a huge place in my heart because she shut her down on Twitter, and she said she said that she was something the expression dog walk came up in her tweet to Tommy Lahren. So I go to Urban Dictionary because I need help, and it's already in. This incident is actually.
Bless you.
Bless you. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Gesundheit.
That was a live sneeze right here on Radio Andy. But dog walk is when you're beating someone's ass and you're dragging them as if you're walking a dog. I'm a dog walk your ass if you keep talking shit. He got dog walk in the fight last night. And then number 2 is dog walk. And it's when Cardi B, what Cardi B will do to Tammy Lerman if Tommy it's misspelled. Tommy keep running her mouth on Twitter.
So when you're dog walking someone, what are you doing? You're dragging them by the leash and beating them at the same time.
It's
I
just-
imagine you
you-
lift them by the legs and then
You just
sort of
drag
wheelbarrow
them. You just
Yeah.
dog walk them.
Put them on a leash. Put them on. Just drag them.
And I love
my
animals, and I
dogs.
don't want any harm done to animals, but it's a metaphor, people, and it's no violence was done to anyone. It's words, a war of words. But Cardi B is kind of my new hero. I'm
She's
gonna listen to
hysterical.
more
She
of her
really
music.
is very funny. She has that sort of no filter thing. She's really funny. I wanted to mention though one of my favorite stories of the week is the Katy Perry saying that she was giving an interview and she was she tweeted that she was going through a bunch of old stuff with her parents and she came across a letter from 6th grade that the parents sent to her saying that young Katie Price had been sent home.
Katy Perry.
No, but wasn't it her name and real name? What is her real name?
Katie like Harris or something.
Oh, I'm
no,
so
it's
sorry.
Katie Price. Go.
no,
I'm
Katie
looking up-
Price is Jordan.
Why don't you tell the story?
No, I want to know about Katy.
Tell us
What
about
happened?
Katy
What
Perry.
happened, Blake?
She humped a tree.
No, can someone?
And she liked it. That was the joke. I was just setting it up for Katy Perry humped a tree, and she liked it. It might have been a girl tree. It might have been a boy tree, but she liked it.
Why?
I'm being a clown to make
No,
you
that's
laugh.
okay.
and
That's
fall
okay.
out.
That's
Why
very fun.
do you like tree humping? I once read a book called A Melon for Ecstasy. It was written by some sort of young person in Britain, and the idea this guy would actually go around with a hand drill and drill holes in trees and copulate with them, and he got
we don't shame that.
lots of splinters. Thank you. And he also got sentenced to prison.
But
is
it's like
this what
people who have sex with their car and they fuck the
exhaust pipe.
the exhaust pipe, sure,
is-
or
but
the gas tank.
But Katy Perry humping a tree, I'm not.
She's young.
She was pretending it was Tom Cruise, is what it was. She was showing her
truly?
friend. Yeah, she was showing her friends what she would do to Tom Cruise. So she sort of rubbed up against the tree, and then she got in trouble because when
Wasn't she at a nunnery?
she went to a private school,
Right.
Catholic school, and then she also got in trouble. What were for some of the other reasons? Well, I don't know. I guess you have to go to the Wow Report and read the story.
by James St. James.
Guess she got wood. Thanks for tuning in to the Wow Report on Radio Andy Sirius XM. listen anytime. Why would you?
You can
On
skip
the
this
Sirius
episode. But there's
Radio
so
app.
many. There's so many.
No, I'm
old-
telling you, I think it's the best episode we've ever done.
Or watch anytime on the Wow Report. Hey, we'll see you at the Golden Globes, the PGAs. We'll be snatching trophies. Same time, same place next week. Until then, go out and do something. Actually, wait. Next week is going to be our Oscar special, right?
Uh-huh.
We're having a guest,
Yeah.
so let's try to behave.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, can we
all
announce?
get
Can we
along?
announce?
Let's keep it a secret.
Okay. Until then, go out and do something that
Is it
makes
show up?
the world go wow.
And if you tune in, we can have like an Easter egg where we discuss Aquaman. Do you want to?
Oh, yeah, let's do that. Yeah.
Okay.